Just like church. I always sit in the second row. Doesn't matter where I go. Crazy.
I'll try not. Bad habit. Jim, how are you? Were you sitting there?
I did.
Hey, Wyatt. Did I see you at the car auction at Mohican Sun? Were you there?
Yes, I was.
I saw you.
I saw you. I saw you walking.
I saw you going up the escalator and it was crowded.
No deals down there.
Good. It was hot enough out there. I'll tell
Oh
you
my
that.
God.
Okay. So, got another 2 minutes to go here and then we'll get the meeting started.
See, I might have to put this out. You're too tall to start it, right? There's nothing to say.
It's better. It's okay.
It's all good.
No shakes or
Okay, folks, we're going to call the meeting to order here tonight at 7 p.m. And the first order of business is we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so just so everybody knows, this is our new meeting place, and instead of being the first Tuesday of every month, it's going to be the second Tuesday of every month, and we should be on a regular schedule now that we get through the July 4th holiday and the scheduling situation where this room was not available on the first Tuesday of the month. So it's going to be the second Tuesday every month, 7 o'clock over here, okay? And so anybody watching on the video, they'll know, so, okay? So the first thing we gotta do, gentlemen, is entertain a motion to seal the minutes from our public meeting that we had at 6:30.
I'll make a motion to seal the minutes for the non-public meeting.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now, first thing on the agenda, besides what we just did, is we got a whole mess of minutes. We got 4 sets of minutes to approve. So you see on your agenda right here, you got the 6-5, 2 6-5s, public and non-public. So let's take care of those 2 first. Okay?
Anything on 6-5?
Yeah, 6-5. There were 2 of them. Where are they? Oh, are they here? Don't see the 6-5 minutes. I got.
No, but I.
What do you got there? Oh, wait a minute, wait.
Yeah, you got the 6-5.
6, right here, I got it, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, so this is, but these were the public, so now we gotta get the non-public. Let me see where those were.
They won't be in
They're
your
not in
packet
here.
because they're sealed, so
Oh.
they were in here that you signed for me.
All right, okay.
That's fine.
So, do we have to make motions on those or what?
Yes.
Okay, okay, so, we had non-public minutes on 6-5 of 18. Are we all set with that, because I need a
You want to
motion?
do the non-public first?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll motion we accept the minutes of 6-5 non-public.
Okay,
I'll second it.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that's a non-public, 6-5, and then I'd like to do non-public, not sealed, for 6-29.
Oh, okay,
Okay, and then we'll do the 2 public ones.
yeah. I motion we accept the minutes of the non-public 6-29, which are not sealed.
Need a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. All right, now we'll do the public minutes of 6/5.
Motion to accept as presented.
Second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
6/5, and then public minutes for 6/29/18.
Also motion to accept as
Okay,
presented.
second,
Unless-
okay, all in favor? All right, so we got all the minutes, and I've already signed them for you, Lil, so you're good there. Okay, so minutes are done. Okay, chief, been a while, how's everything going in town?
Everything's going great. Month of June, we had over 600 calls to service. We probably had 20 to 25 calls of suspicious people, motor vehicles in neighborhoods. No burglaries in the month of June. Month of July, we had 615 calls to service. We had another 20 or so suspicious vehicles that were called in by people, mainly the members of the Neighborhood Watch Group, and no burglaries. As a matter of fact, the total amount of burglaries that we've had in 2018 is 2. And I believe one of them is being solved, so that's, those are great statistics. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the Neighborhood Watch Group are our eyes and our ears out there. And our guys are out there doing residential patrol. So that's a pat on the back to our officers and a feather in our cap, because that's unbelievable for a town this size with a large border with the city of Manchester to have 2 burglaries.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. So kudos to the guys, they're doing fantastic job.
And of course, the town budgeted for extra officer and extra shift, so we got, double the office, instead of 1, we have 2, on a lot of times. And that, I'm sure, must have had some type of an effect,
Sure.
People see cruisers around, they're out, So, okay, any questions for the chief? Oh, you all set, chief? Are you,
Yeah, good.
any questions?
That's great.
Okay,
Thank you.
all righty. Lieutenant?
Just keep you guys updated on what's going on coming up.
Yep.
We have our training exercise scheduled with the Auburn Police School on the 28th of August, which is going to involve some active shooter training with the teachers. It's kind of a big deal. It should be pretty good. We're also sending our officers to down to Fort Devens for training with the Homeland Security for the same thing, for active shooter training. So we'll be down there 2 times this month as well, doing training down there. Officer Hanson was hired. You guys saw him the day in the meeting.
Carl.
Is he here?
Meet guys.
Oh, he's going back.
Yeah, he went back up.
How's he, is
Doing
going
well.
well?
He's in his training, and he'll be on his own and ready to go the first week of September.
Awesome.
So he should be all done his training and we'll be ready to go. I think might as well bring it up now. Later on, the warrant article. We'll say.
Okay, yeah.
That's really about it. Some other stuff that we'll cover during the budget. We have the budget stuff tonight, so we'll save some of the other stuff.
Yeah.
For during that.
Okay. Is that your presentation?
That's it.
Any questions for the lieutenant? Anybody?
No.
Okay, great.
Support.
Okay. Steve, how are you?
Great, how you doing?
Good. I did see the neighborhood watch ad in the crier, nice big, good spot, so, any new enrollments, or you not, you're not able to look at that?
No, actually, I've had a couple of people that have been referred to me by other members. They've contacted me via email, and they were in my actual district, so I have added them onto the rules and my mailing list. We have lost a few though, because people just moving out of the area.
Yeah.
And so I think there's just gonna be like a steady turnaround. I think right now, because you see a lot of homes for sale, people are starting to, real estate's heating up a little bit. You're gonna have people moving out and stuff. I'm trying to come up with some ideas as far as trying to keep promoting membership, because like, Chief Carr said, that the more eyes you have out there, the better it makes it for the whole neighborhood. I'm just gonna start sending out just maybe once or twice a week or something like that, something to the neighborhood, or once or twice a month, just to the neighborhood watch within my group, with an information form or something that they could fill out and send back to me, just to say, hey, if you have neighbors out there, the more neighbors you get involved, send them back to me and explain to them that there's no real commitment, we don't go out and bother you, just we give you the information, and then you report it to the police when you see something. And see if that boosts up things going a little bit. I'm going to try, with work going on, I know I wasn't able to do it for Old Home it is, we have another one, is it the Auburn Days or something that's coming up in August, September timeframe. I'm gonna try to be there a little bit with a booth.
No, the duck race is coming.
The duck races, yeah.
I mean, that'd be a good spot to have a table and get a couple volunteers.
Yeah, we actually picked up about 20 people last time, so.
Yeah.
see what
Are you
we
saying
can
you
do.
think you can get a table and something for the
I'm
duck
gonna see
race?
if I can set something up for that, and I don't know if I can be there the whole time, but with work.
Get a couple
and everything.
volunteers maybe, that could help you.
Yeah, if anybody would like to volunteer, I'd be very happy if they would, help fill in for any time that I can't fill in there.
Mhm.
And then another thought that I had is, maybe setting up some cards or something that we can actually give to some of the officers, so when they're out on a call or something like that, they get a suspicious call and they interact with the police and say, hey, are you a member of the neighborhood watch? Give them a card with the information to contact us and get on the neighborhood watch program. I don't know if that would work or not, I don't know.
Mhm.
Something to think about.
Yeah.
More eyes.
Jim and Carol, have they been active at all, or?
They've been active on the Facebook page.
Okay.
So, they're always posting stuff up there and it
Good.
seems to be very effective. Things have been going well. I've had some calls. I know, Chief Carr brought up about calls about suspicious cars and things going through the neighborhood. And I know some of the people in my neighborhood are the people that are calling in on that. And they usually call me because they know that I got my cameras and everything like that. And I kind of plan back, and I have to honestly say that the response time's been fantastic, because I think the average response time within my area is like anywhere from 4 to 6 minutes, and that's a damn good response time.
Mm-hmm.
So
For sure.
it's very much appreciated.
All right, well, hopefully you can get something going for
Mhm.
Old Home Days and pick up some new members.
I hope so too.
Yep. Okay, any questions for Steve?
Nothing.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, next thing on the agenda, old business. Do we have anything to discuss, or can we move on to new business, which would be the evaluation?
Yeah, under old business, the only thing I could say is that we've started meeting with the union.
Yeah.
Union
And
negotiations.
so you just started, right, setting up the dates
Yeah,
and
well, all
stuff?
the dates are set up and it's moving ahead. And
Yeah.
we're gonna be meeting, looks like every 2 weeks, and hopefully we'll come to resolution fairly.
All right.
So,
Anything else? Old business, because we'll get right into the employee evaluations here. And I usually let you do them, so if you want, or Mickey can do them. Okay, so the next thing on the agenda on the new business is, I think we've got 5 evaluations, or maybe even, 5 or 6. So,
if you
yeah.
should have, you do them so you get the names right.
You do, yeah, you. Go ahead.
The first is Jason Iantelli.
Mhm.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Thought he was Italian. Based on his satisfactory review, I'll make a motion that he be awarded the step increase that he's scheduled for. He's currently at a labor grade 6, step 5. That'll move him up to labor grade 6, step 6.
Okay. For a second. Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. You guys all initial?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Do this.
All right, next one.
Moose.
Okay.
A coup. Again, based on a satisfactory personnel review, I would recommend that Officer Musa Coup be awarded his step increase from a labor grade 7, step 12 to a labor grade 7, step 13.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Fantastic.
This one I know, Charlene Cornet.
Yeah, I was talking about her increase, because she's.
She works off of a stipend.
Right.
Yeah, in fact, we have a memo here, right?
Yeah, it's a little different on her, the animal control officer.
Again, based on Jolene's satisfactory review, we're awarding her the recommended and scheduled pay increase. Again, she works off a stipend. Let's see, she's listed as a grade 4 but has no step. Increase should be 2% for 2018, so it'll be a 2% increase, whatever that may be.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye. Next is Greg Santuccio. Again, based on his satisfactory review, I will motion that we grant Officer Santuccio his next step increase from a labor grade 6, step 14, to a labor grade 6, step 15.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain. Last one.
Next, we have Melissa Gates. Again, based on her satisfactory personnel review, I would recommend a motion that she receive her step increase from a labor grade 5, step 12, to a labor grade 5, step 13.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
I would like to say that we operate off a 20-step salary structure, and you can tell by the sound that a lot of our people are moving towards the end of that step structure, so at some point we're gonna probably have to look at how to
Now?
resolve that so everyone isn't bunched up at the end of the structure at some point.
Okay.
That's down the road, but we do recognize that fact.
Yeah. In the, should we mention to Melissa what we're planning to do, or is that something we should do in non-public?
I think that's something, yeah, we shouldn't bunk
Okay.
it here, but we did receive your letter and we are gonna be considering it. It just isn't gonna happen tonight. And
And I spoke to Melissa outside of the room, and she raised some, I almost feel like I wish we kind of brought her into the meeting so that she had a little bit more input, because she does have a little bit more behind the scene as to why she took this approach.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's fine, in the next meeting, we can bring her in if she'd like to come in.
yeah, we'll make some time for you.
Maybe address what I brought up, so.
I already did, but she had some.
You wanna do it
that I was-
after we can go in non-public again for 5-10 minutes, or whatever long today, if you'd like to.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
it just may be late because we're gonna get into the
Yeah,
budget.
but we're open to do it tonight. It'll be your choice. If you wanna do it tonight, we'll do it after the budget. If not, the next meeting we'll do it, and we're also, one of the things we're thinking of, we'll get the full board together.
Yeah.
And you might have to go to the full board and make a presentation. Okay, you know, the 3 selectmen, the library, that's where we're kinda going, but we wanna investigate it, and we didn't have enough time to make a good decision,
Yeah.
good fact-based decision on your letter.
That's fine.
Okay? So you wanna do it tonight, or you
No,
wanna?
no, let's wait till.
Okay, all right, thank you, Melissa. Okay, so that's it on the evaluation. So, okay, the next is discuss language for a detailed warrant article. So everybody's gonna say what that. I'll just try to explain it a little bit. So over the last few years, the town charges, let's say Eversource for a detail, a flat rate. And then out of that, they pay the officer, they pay his retirement, $5.05 or $5.15 is for the town for the cruiser use. And what happens is if a part-time officer does a detail, Eversource, and for 3 hours or 4 hours, they get the same bill, whether it's a part-time or a full-time officer. But the town, when they get the money from that detail, on a part-time, they don't do any retirement. So that extra money stays in this account. That is money that's not risen by taxation. It's extra money because of detail. And the town can't do anything with it unless we get a warrant article out on the election coming up in March that would say this money is going to be changed into an account where it could be used for police department expenses moving forward. Now, that's not going to happen until March of 19, which we have the election. So we just want to work on the warrant article and have some idea. The selectmen would like some input. As you know, you got an email from Bill Herman. And they're just looking for some input. To me, the warrant article should be short and sweet. If we want to put, let's say, you can't use more than 10% of it in a year down the road or whatever, we can work that out with the selectmen after we get the warrant on. No need to make a deal if the warrant article doesn't pass. So I think we got to, come up with some language with the warrant article, and maybe a warrant a meeting with the selectmen, us 3 commissioners and the selectmen, and work out a warrant article. But the details, what happens if it gets approved, I think we should wait till it gets approved, and then we can put some restrictions on it if we want. You know, we were thinking maybe if you got 135,000 in the fund, maybe, it's about 135 to 150,000 that's been sitting in this fund that the town can't use. And they can't let us use it unless you get a warrant article that gives them permission to free up that money. And since it's not raised by taxation, it makes it a little different. So, being new at all this, I think we'll meet with the selectmen and get to a language of the warrant article, which will be, you know, which will explain, it's a little complicated situation, but they get this money and we could use it for one-time expenses, and we could say you can't use more than 10% a year, or whatever, but like I say, I don't think there's any need to do that now. I think we need to just meet with the selectmen, come up with the language for a warrant article. You need 25 signatures for that, and we'll move on from that. So that's where I'm at. You have any input, guys?
Is the only money that goes in there the pay differential between the full-time and the part-time offices? Is that the only funds that go into this?
No, there's slight overages for when a full-time officer works an hour, you know, every hour of detail they work, there's a slight overage, so the time charges.
So does something goes in for every detail?
Every hour work by every hour.
So it isn't just.
No, not just the part-timers. It's some money going in there. Bill, how long has that, when did that fund start about?
8 years ago.
8 years ago. So in 8 years, it's gonna be about 150 at the end of this year, maybe?
About 20,000 a year.
Okay, okay.
It's not gonna keep going, it's all done, right? With the changes in the details and stuff?
Well, we're not sure yet. They're working on that. That's why
As it
the
continues.
union's working on that, and that could change how this, where he's saying we're getting 20,000 a year, if the union and the union negotiations, they come up with a new contract, one of the things they're working on is detail, and that part-time detail stuff, we may not have that overage every hour anymore. That may go away, and there's some negotiation, so it's kind of vague right now. So I think our next step is to meet with the selectmen and get a warrant article, get it written up, and get 25 signatures, put it out to the voters, and if it passes, back to the table.
Yeah, I mean, other towns use these to buy, this fund to buy vehicles and such, which I think makes sense.
Mhm.
I would like to see some sort of limits on it. I wouldn't want the public to think this is a slush fund.
No,
The department can spend it any way they want.
Mhm.
I think it makes sense to have it for replacing some of the capital items. It would have been nice to
Yeah.
have this wording in such a way that we could have got a new speed trailer out of these
Sure.
funds.
Yeah.
And things like that.
I'd like to see it go to the building too, to the,
Yeah, I don't know if there's limits, I guess, but we'll have to look into it, what it can be used for. I know it can only be used for the police in such certain ways. There is legislation about it, so
Yep.
we'll probably have to look into it a little bit
So-
closer, but.
So are we
I
on
agree with
board to
you.
get a meeting with the selectmen to
Yeah,
discuss this and
absolutely.
get the language? Okay,
It
so
makes sense if this
All right.
fund's there.
we'll work it out.
Offset our taxes.
All right. All right, we done with that subject?
We are.
Okay. So, okay, Bill Herman also sent us an email. They want to set up a committee for the building expansion at the safety center, and they're looking for one member from the police commission. And I'm kind of busy being the chairman and everything. Would you be willing? Because I know Dennis is on the union, and would you be anything up for that? Okay. So let the record show that Mickey Ralph will be on the building committee, okay? All right, and, okay, so now, anything else before we get into the budget and anything?
Well, I was thinking, why don't we do public comment, because I
Yeah.
don't know if everyone wants to
That's
sit
what I
there, watch
was
us
gonna
argue over the
say.
budget.
So after, we're about to start our
Get a
budget,
little
we're gonna
bloody.
go line by line. It's pretty well even based over last year. We have, let's say, $1 million budget, we're probably up $3,000. It's very minimal, but we're gonna go over line by line. So before we start that, does anybody have any questions of what's transpired up till this point? Anybody have anything? Okay.
Oh, no, we have one, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Why they,
ahead.
why do you need to expand the safety complex? What's going on there? That
Well,
you're
sure.
expanding?
Sure, so it's been, boy, I don't know how many years now. We had a study done, the most recent one was in 2016, and that found out or identified a bunch of different needs for the police department and what we don't have, or stuff we're lacking, and some of those had to do with the structure of our building. The town wants to get a committee together to look at those needs and see exactly what that would entail. For a while, there was thought of putting a standalone building to go in with Parks and Rec, because they needed a building at the same time. They were trying to save the cost, for the, like heating and stuff, so it'd all be in the same kind of thing. But that's kind of gone out now. So now we're back to just addressing the police department's stuff, which is a lot of it is storage. It's huge. We have nowhere to put our records. We rent storage trailers for the parking lot, like those temporary storage trailers. And we have 2 of them. I think we're actually thinking of having a 3rd one. Are in our parking lot. And one of the recommendations that we had for this group was that's not such a great idea for police-related stuff not to be attached to the building, be standing alone with no alarms and stuff where it could be, some of the stuff sensitive items or records and stuff.
There's all kinds of records in
The
there.
Sally Port is being used like a garage, and it's really not a garage. It looks like one, but it's really there to transfer, securely to transfer people that are being brought in or taken out. So we have a number of items that you people store in there that really need to be moved out. So there's a need for, the biggest need is space.
So they're gonna make a committee, selectmen, police commission, and somebody else, I'm sure, I don't know.
Planning board.
Yeah, and come up with some ideas and a budget and see, I think the town has some money set aside for that, Bill, or in the capital improvement fund?
No, not specifically, but there's, the selectmen will probably authorize taking that from surplus.
Okay. All right, so that's where
So
we're at with
we'll
that.
have a separate meeting and stuff, if
Yeah.
you'd like to go to learn more about what exactly their needs are and stuff, people are welcome to go, it's open to the public, people can go to that, and they might even be looking for a couple of citizens to help, to volunteer. So it's beyond the committee.
You all set with that
I think
response?
so. So now the room that we used to meet, because for the meetings, will that be used for one of those projects?
We don't know.
It's empty now?
I don't think so.
No, that's always been committed as a multi-purpose meeting room, and it's used a lot, so I can't see the town.
No, they use
Doing
that
any
pretty much
less.
every night
Yeah.
for Boy Scouts
Yeah.
and Girl Scouts.
Yeah, so that probably stay the same. I think we'd add on to the building on the police department side or something.
Or
Separate, but separate building is, to me, you're
That's
gonna
what-
go outside
That's what you
and,
guys will do.
Yeah.
Figure out what
yeah,
makes
that's why
sense.
we'll have a committee and look at it and aesthetically, how's it gonna look and.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions, folks?
That answer your stuff?
Thank you.
Okay.
The only thing, when we're doing the budget, it's not open to public comment. We'll have enough comments.
Yeah, so we're gonna go over line by line, you're welcome to
You're
say.
welcome to listen.
Yeah, okay, so, gentlemen, we're gonna start the budget, and, I'll read line by line, we'll discuss it, a little to the right, you've never done this, so off to the right, she gives you some little pointers, okay? And over here, she also will have how much money has been spent so far, so you can see if we have a $4,000 line, we've used this so far, and we got 5 more months to go, to give you an idea. Okay, so we'll, once you do the first few, you'll get it, okay? All right, so the first line, we're gonna be DWI grant patrols, and I'll just use the last 4 numbers. Line 150-1, DWI grant patrols, we're looking to be level funded at $5,000.
And right now, we've only spent 1,000, but I'm sure we have more coming in this. Thank you for putting the prior years in here, in this column here, because this is what we've seen in the past, which is 3,040, no?
Nope.
What's that, what are those 3 numbers?
It's awarded? Is that-
That's what I
from the
was
state.
wondering.
That was our
It's
grant
not
too?
from the state.
Yeah, but in theory, that number is covered by this amount, isn't it? I mean, we go over it sometimes, but that's the intent.
That
Right.
was the, that's the intent.
That's all I'm saying is, so we can see that we've got numbers around 5,000, they come up to $5,000, or average, over 3 years.
Yeah, now this is a complicated one. These two, because they're in and out, and they're based on grants, we gotta fund the money first, and then we spend it, and, oh, I'm sorry, how did that used to, I thought it used to work that way.
It's never
No,
been
this
an
is-
fund.
Huh?
They've never really been a truly in and out fund.
Okay,
They use it to fund the staff because I don't get paid for the grant until we do a reimbursement. So there is a reimbursement, but the money doesn't,
Right, it doesn't rotate into the same account, it goes to the town's general fund.
it goes to the town, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
but-
so it's not
but-
really in
And if you
and out
don't
fund.
spend all the money, it's raised by taxes.
Right.
It is a budget item.
Yes.
Yeah.
But typically, the 5,000 that we budget is anticipating that we're gonna hopefully be spending around that much and getting back around that.
But it doesn't come back to us, it goes
Goes
to
to
the
the
town.
general fund.
Yeah.
Right. So in the past, we've got $6,600
Mhm.
back, we've got $4,200 back, and we've got $3,141 back
Mhm.
in the past. So again, it's an average of about $5,000.
So,
And I believe that number has been that number for a number of years.
oh no, 5,000 used to be 12, it used to be, when I first became a commissioner, it was like 15,000, believe it or not. Those lines were
The
15,000.
state every year has been reducing the amount of grants that they give out
Yeah.
to each individual town.
Yep,
And that's just across the board. It's not Auburn specific, it's state of New Hampshire specific, because they get less money from the federal government. So every year it kind of goes down.
Yep.
There's a formula, we went and met with the state this year, and they went through the formulas they use for the grants, and kind of explained exactly how the numbers are generated. It was actually pretty interesting. But, so for 2018 to 2019, we will only get $3,141 back from the state for our DWI grants.
okay.
We still want to fund it for
But we
$5,000.
would potentially spend $5,000.
Right. And the reasoning for that is the people of the town of Auburn, whether they realize it or not, have come to expect $5,000 worth of DWI patrols. It's been that's just how it's been for years, and that gives us a certain level of enforcement that people have enjoyed living in the town and having. And that's why we want to keep it at the 5,000.
Yeah, and when that cruiser goes out, it's just DWI. He most likely would not go to a call
Specialized patrol.
unless it was an emergency, something, big accident or something.
Well, I would probably say if they were caught by the patrol, they probably weren't enjoying that patrol much. But I understand its value, and I will
Yeah.
move that line for $5,000.
Okay,
Right.
so can we get a motion on this line and move on?
Just
Dennis
gave you
just
one.
motioned.
I
Oh,
just
you just did?
motioned at
Oh, okay.
$5,000.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Uh,
Okay, so 5,000. Next line, 150-2, selective traffic control, same idea, different, job, so $4,000 level funded.
In this case, we've seen our rewards a little higher, so again, everything washes out. I would recommend that we go with the $4,000 line again. We've already spent $3,341 as of this year.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 150-3, police witness fees, 2,000, level funded. Now, that used to be like $6,000 when I started, and that's come down because of our prosecutor and because of the what do they call those sessions before your court date? You go to the
Pre-trial.
pre-trial.
conference.
They have pre-trial conferences now, so our prosecutor is able to settle a lot of cases before they go to court, and therefore you don't have to subpoena officers to be witnesses in a case, and that's saving us some money, but 2,000 is, I think, is a kind of lowest we want to go on that.
Well, we spent 810 to date. We're in August.
Mhm.
We've got 1,200 left. I don't know, could we go down to 1,500? That would look like where we were gonna be this year anyway.
And then it all hinges on, it's,
Don't
It's
arrest
arrest.
anyone, right?
right, so,
I'm not gonna
and
arrest.
then if we get arrests, that's one of those numbers that you're,
Yeah, but again, I mean, the problem is you raise it though, too. I agree, and it's a small item, so I'm not gonna really argue about it too much. I just threw it
Okay.
out there.
All right,
Anyone wants to motion a different number, go for it.
I'll make a motion for $2,000.
All right, I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, 150-4, OHRV, years ago, Fish and Game used to give the department some money. They haven't had any money, but we keep that line open in the event we can.
We had money last year.
You did?
Yeah,
Not
it was,
right now.
money last year, but, we only used the fund if we get.
This
That's
is,
one that's
this is an
independent.
OHRV patrol. We still
Funded
have,
by Fish and Game.
we still have the vehicle.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not for the upkeep of the vehicles, just for separate patrols. Fish and
Yep.
Game, once in a while, will give
Mhm.
each time they rotate the grants, so you don't get them every year. So we
Yeah.
don't really throw a lot of money in this line, because we don't have the money to pay for the
Okay.
patrol.
So we're looking to keep that line open for $1.
I'll second it, yeah.
Okay, you made a motion? All in favor? All set. Okay, next one is uniforms, line 290-1. We're talking an increase of $150. So we're going from, we're gonna go to $8,050 compared to $7,900 we had before.
And that's because we added one full-time officer and dropped one part-time officer. And that's why the difference, $150.
Yeah, and that's,
We're not doing this one?
No, that's a
That's
subtotal.
right.
That's 4, 9, 11.
okay.
I see.
11,000, yeah, that's just a summation. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no problem.
That was a total here, this section.
Okay, so 290-1, we're looking for a motion for $8,050.
And that's based on what we currently carrying for officers?
Yes.
Based with what the union requires that we give them for the uniforms, plus a small replacement and damage amounts.
Right.
I'll motion that $8,050.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, motion passes. All right, moving on here, computer services, line 340-1. We're looking to reduce by $380. Okay, now, as you're looking at that,
I can
okay.
explain this.
Yeah, go ahead, why don't you
This,
explain the red ink here and
This
stuff?
one's one just to think about. Now, here's the deal is we were told by our computer guy, who's the same as the one for the town, that by 2020, we have to replace all the workstations in the police station because they can't support Windows 10. They're all Windows
Be glad they came.
7.
Yeah,
People like it though.
and there's 9 of them, so.
There's 9 of them.
9, yeah.
So we got a price from him to replace our computers. There's 9 stations at the station at, what do you have, about $750 a piece, which is pretty reasonable.
Mhm.
So then that's with installation software, all the stuff is $7,830. Our hope is that we might be able to purchase that at the end of this year if we have a surplus, and then we wouldn't have to ask for an increase in the budget.
Right, yeah.
That's the first part of it. The second part is our computers and our cars are kind of in the same boat, and they were purchased in, we think, 2008. Is that pretty close? 2007, 2008.
Mhm.
So we have tough book computers in the patrol cars, and they have like a steel mount that holds them in place. We went and got a price to replace those, thinking we could phase them in over time, so they're
Yeah.
quite expensive. Well, like everything else, they changed the mounting system, because now they want you to have to buy a new mount. You can't just use the old mount and slide a new computer in there. You have to spend an extra $2,000 for the mount that holds the computer. So they kind of got you. So one computer with the stand and installation was $5,000 something for one.
Almost 5,500 for one, yeah.
For one. Again, we would need a total of 5 of those. We figured we could take some of the older top books and use them for the cars that don't get used all the time.
Mhm.
But we would have 5 primary vehicles.
Mhm.
We have to plan, I guess, ahead that the warrant article to use money for capital improvements fails. We would have to expect that to happen, because you
Yeah,
can't
we
make.
can't count on that
Can't
one.
count on that
Okay.
passing. I would like to purchase laptops out of that fund for this next year coming up, but we can't plan on that.
No.
So we're looking to purchase 2 patrol computers, which are $10,954. And then if that fund was approved, we'd buy 3 more, that would be our 5, and we'd be done.
Yeah, if the warrant article goes
Passes.
through, if the warrant article went
If
through,
it didn't, we'd
Yeah.
have to come back and ask for more, like 2 a year kind of deal, phase them in, kind of figure out radios, our portables, and you kind of phase them in. Again, so we'd have $7,830 for the computers for the police station, and $10,000 for computers in the cars for this year. That's a total of $18,784. We would anticipate we probably would have that in surplus funds this year, it'd be pretty close.
at the end of the year.
I think we would have more than that.
Mhm. And that's because of the part-time line, you have some extra funds. So what he's saying is it comes to, we'll say it comes to we'll say $19,000. If by our meeting in December, we're looking good that we have a surplus, we may authorize them to buy this $18,000, it won't even be part of the budget. So for today's purposes, we're only looking at the budget of $23,11819, which is a reduction of $380 over last year. What you see in red, we're anticipating in December, they'll make a presentation to the commission and say, hey, we got 32,000 left, can we spend 18,000, we'll get them, and we'll tell them to do it, and away it goes. And we won't need to ask it in our budget money moving forward. And over and above that, if that grant, that warrant article got approved, then the remaining computers, we could possibly arrange to buy them with that money, so.
Like I said, the other option is to put one or both of those items into the budget and ask for the money. That's,
Well, I don't like budgeting based on surplus funds. I mean, I know we anticipate it, but I would rather see us, like you say, put one or the other of those items in there, and then we'll see where we are. I think that's a big number to be looking at for surplus. And if we're having these big surpluses, then obviously we're not budgeting correctly. So I would think to maybe put the 78 in there on the number that we have and maybe make that number about 30,000 instead. This year's
Well, yeah,
budget.
well, if you wanted to do 23,120, and you have to add 7830 to it, so here you go, I'll tell you what it is. 8, let me see, okay, so okay, 30,950 is what we have to make that line to cover that red article of 7,830 right there. Oh, right, where's the 7,830, that one, yeah, we'll put that. So we would need to make a motion for 30,950. That would include that 7,830, which to me is the most important. That's your 9 computers with the new Windows 10 and everything, get them all done at once.
right, that would actually be our priority, is the ones in the stations, they won't operate, and they're not,
Yep.
they won't give you virus protection on them, you can get virus protection, they don't warranty those computers anymore. So the ones that, if we had a choice out of the 2, that's the one we really need, is the
Yep.
one in the computers in the police.
Oh, is that the direction you're thinking we want to go?
And again, I'll move that line to 30,000, because again, we're still looking at funds if it overruns and all,
Right.
so. But,
So, you want to do the 30,950?
no, just do 30,000, just do 30.
30,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
With the idea that maybe we will purchase them out of there and change it, but at this point, let's not anticipate that. I don't think that's a good way to get funding, is to be looking at.
Okay, so you're making a
surplus
motion
funds.
on this line, and you're seconding it for 30,000? All in favor? Okay, so we'll do 30, and we'll present that to the budget committee to get those 9 computers in the budget instead of seeing if it's over.
That's fine.
Okay?
That's how we write it up.
Okay, all right. Moving on, next line, custodial services, line 360-1, level funded at $7,120.
And it's been working, is this one that's split with fire, or is this separate? This is separate. It's level. Yeah. Well, motion level funded, 7,120. I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, motion passes. Medical services, 370-1, level funded at
Is
$1,200.
this the one I'm always beating on?
Yeah.
Yep.
You only used $150, so.
No, we have 150 credit.
Oh, credit.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
haven't purchased our supplies for the end of the year. We usually get this year we have to replace the quick clot bandages for everybody, which is a hemostatic bandage for everybody. They're like $100 a piece. We have to buy one for everybody. We have to replace the AED pads and the batteries packs for the AED defibrillators. But we usually buy all those supplies at the end of the year.
How about the Narcan? Is Narcan gonna be coming out of this budget as well?
It does, but luckily we've been begging, borrowing, scraping, and getting it for free.
Is it expensive?
It's $70 a dose.
$70 a canister.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And we've been kind of getting it for free from the health department in Manchester. We have,
Wow.
fire department.
$70 a piece, yeah.
So we've been getting it for free. But that could change. That could change.
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Oh,
So we will spend the $1,200 and we will buy needed first aid equipment that we need.
okay, good. We are early, by the way. Normally, we would be having this discussion in October. People have made it known that last year, they're coming into this year, they wanted us to be earlier, so we're 2 months early on our budget, so that's why some of our expenses have not, you know, it looks like we haven't spent a lot of money, but it's gonna be different if we had this meeting in October. So that kind of explains it. So, you guys, Dennis, are you gonna be able to make a motion on this, baby?
Yeah.
All
I've
right.
had this one for years, so I'll motion $1,200.
All right.
I'll second.
Okay, all right, motion passes, all in favor. Okay, medical, what do we got here now? We got prosecution Lonnie, 390-0, level funded.
That's still working well, do we
Right,
anticipate
great.
any changes, so?
No, he was, you know, all set with keeping it level funded, he's done a great job all year.
It pinches on arrests, and we were stable from last year, arrest numbers are roughly about the same, so he wasn't looking for an increase.
Okay, I'll move the number 19,100. I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Radar, 390-1, now, that is, let me see, certification for all the handheld units and all the radar. So it's reduced by 195. We're looking to, so the reason for that, she has it written there, if you see in red, certification, reduced pricing. So it's costing us less to recertify all our radar units, whether they're in the cruiser or handheld. So we're gonna save $195, and we're gonna be looking for a line of $950 on that.
So moved. What's the radar trailer upkeep? Are we
Yeah,
still-
so that one that we have still works as a display thing. Really, the upkeep now is buying extension cords and all kinds of supplies that go with it. It overheated the other day too, we had it plugged in, and I don't think it's supposed to stay plugged in for a long time. So we had to bring it back to the weather.
It was good to see it out anyway. But,
Yeah.
I mean, we've got to get another one. That's
The,
something, yeah.
on the side, on the kind of side note, we have reapplied for the grant for this year. We were up at the state talking with them about their grants. The guy said to resubmit the grant for this year, because they have surplus funds normally. And our fundraising most has really helped. The fundraising's been going really well. I think we have like something like the town helped us out a little bit too. It's like 3,000 from them. I think we have another 1,000. So
Well, you almost got 25%.
yeah, if we have to, we'll go out and, you know, solicit funds, or we're gonna go out on a fundraiser, buy french fries at Duck Day. That goes to the
Yeah,
restaurant
the
trail.
police department can be selling french fries.
Oh, okay.
That's what he's saying. That's a fundraising type
Buy
thing.
french fries.
Yeah,
And we've had some interest from neighborhood groups that are promising some funds towards that. So I think we could make it if we get approved and buy the new trailer this year, if we get approved for the grant. We'll see how that goes.
All right, I just wondered what the $100 was, that's
Right,
all.
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So, looking for a motion of $950 on that.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Radio maintenance, line 390-2. We're gonna reduce that by $1,150 from $6,200 down to $5,050. And can you enlighten us on why it's less?
Because we don't need any more new repeaters. We have repeaters for all patrol cars now.
We finally got caught up.
Yeah, so we're kind of caught up, and eventually we'll probably start replacing those as well once they get older, but right now they're good. We still have 5 more portables we want to replace for the full-time officers,
Mhm.
and then as we replace those, their older radios will get sent to the part-time guys. And right now, the radio replacement's going pretty well. We're doing really well.
Mhm.
I'll move 50/50.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor? Aye, okay. Training, 390-4, level funded at $5,000.
And you've got you still got more to go, you're about 50% now.
Yeah, we have,
Okay, I'll move 5,000,
Okay, yep.
we talked about it earlier.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye, okay. Photography, 390-4, $300, level funded. That's Chip's thing.
oh,
On a crime scene, you take pictures and stuff.
Yeah, and I buy SD cards
Aren't you
with
using
it.
a digital camera yet?
Well, the Polaroid still works fine. I don't know what the problem is. So I buy SD cards with it, I'll buy, you know,
Yeah.
batteries or flash.
Yeah, yeah.
You might need.
So $300.
All right,
Cruiser cams, that sort of thing.
I'll move $300.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, 391-0, public relations. Level funded, $3,500. look what it includes, a leads program, officer friendly, community service like the chili cook-off, the truck or treat that they had, a lot of different things. The Child Advocacy Center, we send them $1,200 a year. Rockingham County, I believe, yeah. Okay, so we're looking to level fund that at $3,500.
So move.
Okay,
Second?
okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Plant costs, now that we split with the fire department, line 560-1. We're looking to reduce it by $200 down to $7,800.
Okay, it seems about right for what we've spent, so I'll move $7,800. I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, police equipment, 610-1. Okay, we're looking to increase that by 1,000. And that's, I'll let you talk, that's about the tasers and stuff, so
Yeah,
why don't we
so
talk about that?
we're looking to sign up with Taser, right, they make the Taser thing for us, that's
Yeah.
the name of the company as well. They have a replacement program for the cartridges. They're now recommending you have to recertify with your Taser every year. And what that entails, the officer has to go through a little class, learn when to use the thing, but you also have to fire off a couple of cartridges into a target. Those cartridges cost $30 a piece. If we sign up, so we went through, we figured you have 30 training cartridges a year, 20 duty cartridges a year, and they expire, of course. They don't just give you one that lasts, they have a little air cartridge in there, so they expire. So you have to replace those all every year. The cost of replacing those cartridges, now because we'll do it every year, so every 2 years, is, I think it was $1,575. $76.
Yeah.
Okay, but to sign up for this program, where they replace the cartridges for free, or it's not free, they replace the cartridges as they're used, is $1,500. The advantage is they lock you into the $1,500 for 5 years, it doesn't go up over the cost of 5 years. And anytime you use a cartridge, whether it's for training or you deploy one in the field, you send it in, they send you back another one.
It's like a maintenance plan.
Right, so the increase is, before we only had to do it every 2 years, now we have to do it every year. That's the real nuts and bolts of the increase.
The products go up 6% a year, so you're gonna forego that 6% increase every year if we participate in this plan.
Do all our offices have cases?
The full-time officers all have issued a taser.
Issued tasers.
The part-time officers take one when they go on shift. We have a total of.
And everyone has to recert.
Yeah,
Right.
everyone has to recertify.
So move 6,000.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, police equipment, 610-2, level funded at $2,000.
No, office equipment.
Oh, office equipment, hello, I checked my eyes here. Okay, 610-2.
So we still have the copier maintenance agreement and then. Right, maintenance and replacement. $1,400 less yearly. So move 2,000. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Postage, level, 630-1 postage, 600, it's been 600 for the last 5-6 years, quite a while.
Used almost 300, so move to 600.
Okay,
Second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Subscription, 640-1, level funded at 4,000.
The big one here is that leads online
Yeah.
notification, which has really worked real well for us.
Oh,
We're
absolutely.
gonna back off.
Hey, you've caught a lot of articles that have been stolen that
Yeah,
have been
yeah,
on
I mean,
a pawn
it's-
shop.
yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
You do steal, like, people traded in that schnitzer or whatever.
Scrap.
Yeah.
The Scrappers, you catch those guys, and they have
Yeah.
one where you can check eBay, Craigslist, you can do all that.
And the others are all small potato stuffs.
Yeah,
EMV criminal code. Yeah, move 4,000. I'll second.
all in favor? Aye. Firearms, 660-1, level funded at 5,800. So, what we were talking about before, tasers, was for the maintenance of the
The
tasers.
cartridges.
The cartridges and
batteries.
certification and stuff like that. Now, here you have tasers, 2 at 1200, because you're taking all the old ones, they have a life, they only have a 5-year
Yeah.
life expectancy.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
everything else.
So you gotta replace them after 5 years.
So every 2 years, I mean, every year we're replacing 2.
We're at that
So
point,
that
we will get rid of 2 expired ones and add 2, and we'll just keep
And
rotating.
it just keeps
Did
rotating.
you ever buy those rifles? Didn't we talk about you?
Done.
Yeah.
Done deal.
Okay.
They're in the cars and
Yeah.
good to
All
go.
right.
Yep.
Ammunition's not getting any cheaper.
Yeah, that's for sure. It just goes up.
So level funded 5,800, yeah, we've already spent 51, so moved.
Okay,
Second.
okay, all in favor? Okay, police supplies, 660-2, level funded at 2250.
This one here, we, you know, we carry a few supply lines, it always gets confused, and I don't know if we always use this one completely.
I don't know if no one said anything about how far we were over
Yeah,
on the equipment line, but
yes. So the police supplies is more of the disposable stuff. Police equipment is a durable thing, like a holster or a pouch or something like that.
Yeah,
Police supplies are gonna be that stuff like evidence bags, stuff, once we use them, it's gone. Chip uses his little gel lifter things, or his, any of his DNA swab stuff, all that stuff is disposable. Once we use that stuff up, it's gone. And again, that's another thing that he doesn't usually buy till the end of the year. He'll go through and see what he needs to buy for supplies, and then replenish all the stuff that we need. So, I don't think we've ever not spent the money for the replacement stuff.
all right, I'll move 2250.
Okay.
I think I've argued about that one.
All right, move, second, all in favor? All right. Okay, let's move to the next line, which is
Oh, we got the dog now. That's-
660-3, and this is for the canine, and that's level funded at 3,000, and,
So move.
so moved, okay, second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? That's done. Hey, the commissioner's budget, 710-1, $100.
Want to cut that?
Move to cut it.
Yeah. So,
Works for me, but it's not gonna help us.
No, $100.
We don't even spend it.
well, no, we spent it before. What
someone
did we
leaves,
spend it
we
on? We
spend
spent it on, was it, I think it was bought some flowers or something, or a plaque or something for somebody that retired. Yeah.
Don't get me flowers, don't get me anything,
All right.
but don't get me flowers. All right, so we're gonna keep it at $100.
Yeah. Okay, all in favor? Office supplies, 670-1,
More supply lines.
2250,
No doubt.
level funded.
Yeah, you shouldn't have said that.
She's only got 566 left, so she's gonna eat that all up in the next 4.5 months.
We'll have them delivered in rye.
So that's actual, I think this one is actually